Turin is famous for its elegant architecture and rich history, but its culinary scene quietly holds some of the best pizza in Italy. If you're visiting for a few days, you only have so many dinner slots available. Trying to pick a spot from a massive list of 5-star reviews is overwhelming when the clock is ticking. The trap most travelers fall into is booking a table purely based on hype. If a legendary pizzeria serves a style you dislike, a perfect rating won't save your dinner. This chart maps your options. The vertical axis tracks crust texture, soft to crisp. The horizontal axis tracks toppings, minimalist to loaded. Look how Turin's top tier splits. Da Michele and Starita sit in a completely different sector than Berbere, Sesto Gusto, or Pizzium. Securing a great meal here requires dropping the search for an objective best slice. You must match the restaurant's philosophy to the textures and flavors your palate actually wants. The baseline for our map is the strict, uncompromising tradition of Neapolitan heritage. Da Michele and Starita are two legendary outposts operating right here in Turin, dedicated to preserving exactly how pizza has been made for generations. These kitchens follow rigid rules. The dough is hand-stretched and fired rapidly, finished with a precise pour of oil from a traditional copper pot. The result is a highly specific crust. It is incredibly soft and pillowy, with a trademark charred, blistered edge, and a center that remains slightly wet from the heat and sauce. They apply extreme constraint to their toppings. You won't find piled-on meats here. They rely entirely on a few pure ingredients, like a simple marinara or a classic margarita with fresh buffalo mozzarella. This matrix shows the trade-off. You are tasting a piece of culinary history, but you must accept a soft, foldable texture and pass on complex flavor combinations. If you are a purist, this is your perfect dinner. If you expect a rigid, crunchy slice, these legendary spots will leave you frustrated. Moving across our spectrum, a new wave of chefs intentionally step away from classical rules to experiment with different doughs and fine dining techniques. Berbere leads this shift by using an artisanal sourdough process. By relying on a long sourdough fermentation, the dough develops a light, airy structure and a distinct, subtle tang that you simply cannot get from a standard yeast base. They pair that distinct base with a very modern topping philosophy, sourcing bold, organic ingredients like spicy, high-quality salami instead of sticking strictly to classic recipes. Then there is Sesto Gusto, taking this experimental approach straight into gourmet territory. The structural difference here is striking. Instead of soft and foldable, Sesto Gusto engineers an incredibly light crust designed to shatter and crisp up. That crisp foundation serves a specific purpose. It acts as a stable canvas for highly crafted, rotating seasonal ingredients. Look at our updated matrix. By choosing these modern pizzerias, you trade the rustic, street food origins of pizza for elevated complexity and a distinct crunch. These spots are built for diners who care less about historical origin and prioritize unique textures, distinct flavors, and lighter digestion. That brings us to our final category, a hearty middle ground designed to satisfy a wider group of diners. Pizzium Torino excels at this approachable, regional Italian style. They serve a hybrid crust. The base is thick, soft, and fluffy, but it maintains a distinctly crispy edge, offering a bit of both worlds. Their topping philosophy is all about abundance. Expect generous, loaded portions featuring rich tomato sauce, creamy mozzarella, and flavorful cured meats from across Italy's regions. This is the direct opposite of the austere restraint you find at classic Neapolitan spots. It is heavy, rich, and comforting. Adding this final row locks in the landscape. Pizzium sits in the comfort zone, balancing a softer base with generous toppings. If you need a satisfying meal that skips the polarizing textures of strict tradition or high-end dining, this is your solution. Now we apply this data directly to your upcoming trip. This flowchart shows you exactly how to book your table. The first filter you apply must always be texture. Ask yourself if you want a soft, pillowy crust or a crisp, airy base. If you want a soft dough, your next choice is about toppings. Are you looking for minimalistic history or hearty comfort? For a historical, minimalistic experience, book Da Michele or Starita. For loaded portions, secure a table at Pizzium. If you prefer a lighter, crispier bite, your choice comes down to the flavor profile of the dough and toppings. Choose beurre for bold, organic ingredients on a tangy sourdough, and reserve Sesta Gusto for complex, seasonal fine dining. Notice how every single option on this board requires a trade-off. To get a perfect Neapolitan chew, you give up crunch. To get fine dining crispness, you leave tradition behind. By filtering your choices through this exact logic tree, you eliminate the risk of burning a limited dinner slot on a highly rated spot you won't actually enjoy. Be honest about your own palate, line it up with the right kitchen's philosophy, and book your